They need to be on their toes because you've got quarterbacks here, yes, that can throw the football, but they can also run it very well, too.
Mobile quarterbacks. Remember, for the longest time, they used to tell the quarterbacks, stay in the pocket. We don't want you outside of it at all. Nowadays, that mobility, truly an asset, and people are game planning for it. As a scout told me recently, we are actually working with what the colleges are giving us nowadays.
Let's go! Let's go!
And the former Heisman winner, this is Mark Ingram. He'll wind up getting a yard on the game's first play. It's second down.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
On 2nd and 9, Jackson. Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Micah Hyde. And he'll take it across midfield and down to the 48-yard line. Well, certainly not how he wanted to start his night. First throw of the game, an INT.
Yeah, it's not easy, but he's got to try and wipe that one away from the memory banks. And let's face it, it's not often a quarterback and a defensive back have a lot in common. But one thing, because they have these individual-type plays, they've got to have short memories, don't they?
And he can't find anywhere to go with it, and he goes down. A well-executed safety blitz by Tony Jefferson leads to the sack. That's called setting the tone right away.
It certainly is, and it lets you know just how important communication is amongst the offensive line. They talk about it all the time, knowing each other's moves. You've got to be coordinated and in sync. Otherwise, your quarterback gets hit.
There's a throw over the middle. It's taken in by his tight end. And he's got this down to the 35. Give him 18 on that one as the Bills are going to have a first down.
I do believe we'll see a little bit more of this as this game progresses, because when you can have that type of a gain in the middle of the defense, it hurts them in so many ways, because most teams like to be strong down the middle. And if you can sting them there, that open things up for you on the outside as well.
That's where their big tight end, is so good, that middle third, the seam routes, the in routes. Yeah, you're right. Probably see more of that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage and fortitude to go in the middle as well, and he's got it. You get a tight end like this, and you know he's used to dishing out punishment, but here, he's one that has to absorb the contact, and as a result, unable to hold on to the football.
Here's 2nd and 10 now from the 35. Now Allen to throw again. And this is going to be intercepted. It's the former Seahawk, Earl Thomas. And he'll get this back to the 32-yard line. So a pretty shaky start here for both sides.
Yeah, each quarterback's throwing a ball to the other team. Do you think on both sidelines they're sitting them down and saying, okay, remember, this is the color jersey we're wearing. They're wearing the other color. Let's make sure we get it to our guys, please.
The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. Well, they were intercepted the first time they had the football, but now they get it back, and it's still 0-0.
And because of that, you know what the thought process is? Interception. What interception? It didn't really happen because they gave up no points. So go back on the attack. Go back and run the offense you believe will be successful. Find your playmakers and give them the football.
The last run good for 2. Here's 2nd and 8. Jackson. He dumps it down to Ingram. And he'll bring it up here to right at the 40-yard line. Give him 6 on the play, and they're going to face a 3rd down.
As a passer, you're always trying to find that open window to throw the ball downfield. How about this one? Right in the middle of the field, right in the heart of a defense.
They'll try to run for the first with Ingram. And he will be very close to a first down, but I see the closed fist of the referee, and that means fourth down. Just a 2-yard pickup, and that should necessitate a call for the punt team here on fourth down. We haven't seen much from him running the football here in this first quarter.
No, you're right about that. We haven't seen much of him at all so far. They've stacked him up pretty well, but when you're trying to run the football, sometimes you got to play the long game. Keep handing it to him, and some of those runs that aren't working now, they turn into 6, 7, 8, and maybe more later on.
So in their own territory, but they only need a few inches, so they're going to opt to go for this thing. We'll see. Maybe a surprise pass, a run. What will they do? We're about to find out. Fourth down. They only needed a few inches, but still some anxious moments there, but they do convert on fourth. Credit there goes to those guys up front.
Certainly does, but we're also seeing how quarterbacks are doing it nowadays on the sneak. When I played high school ball, my coach John Ford used to say, just get down behind those guys and pick up the first down. Now these guys might hesitate a count, use their vision in their eyes, and find the crease and dive for it that way.
Stepping up, he's going to keep it. A big seam, and he might go all the way. And all the way in for a Ravens touchdown. Lamar Jackson, 57 yards, as his guys are able to strike first here in this opening quarter.
Brandon, you and I have called a lot of college football in our day, but on Sundays here in the NFL, doesn't it look a lot like what we used to see on Saturdays when we called those games?
Yeah, option plays just like we saw, and that was a long touchdown to the option. What you taught me, though, defensively, you get your eyes in the wrong place on a play like that, you're in trouble.
What's the term that's in vogue in the NFL? Eye violations. The offense wants you to put your eyes in the wrong spot so that they can appear in others.
Tucker now to kick it away following the touchdown. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Here's the Buffalo offense now as they get set to take over here. They had the interception last time. It led to the opening touchdown. So now 7-0 to score as they start 1st and 10. Allen and the Bills now with a 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Allen fakes the give and keeps himself. This complete to Jones. And he takes us up to the 40-yard line before being corralled.
Offense.
Too far downfield, something those linemen have to watch out for, and that time it costs them. Allen off the play fake. They'll roll him out right. Now on the run. He'll throw it back deep over the middle. Into a double team, and it's intercepted. It's the former Seahawk, Earl Thomas. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
Well, to me, it's pretty simple, and it's fairly obvious, isn't it? He's got to start making better decisions with the ball.
That's now 2 interceptions in the first quarter. After interception number 1, there was a long talk on the sideline, and now he's made another mistake.
Yeah, he's just been kind of laying these passes out there. He's kind of been floating them a little bit. He's got to be more decisive in his reads and definitely more decisive in throwing the ball. Rifle it in there every now and then.
The drive starts here with a carry by Ingram. And he'll lose yardage here, back to the 15. It's a loss of a yard there, and it's 2nd down. Moving backwards on 1st down, never a good thing. What does that do for the mindset on 2nd down?
Well, it changes your play call, definitely, because as a play call, you're advancing yourself thinking, okay, we're going to get a gain here. Now you've got to go back in reverse, come up with something to pick up not just the yardage lost, but gain a few extra.
After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. Raven football here as we begin quarter number 2, as they've got it with a 3rd down and long coming up. After 7-0 on EA Sports. After the sack, they'll come up now 3rd and long.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them run the ball here just to try and get some space.
And indeed, that's what they'll do as they run it here. And this one will be taken up. They'll spot it right at the 7. It's a pickup of 6, but it's not going to be enough. And the punt team's going to be summoned on 4th down. Well, they did go run, so you were right. Maybe a little more breathing room for 4th down.
Well, no one wants to be accused of playing it safe, right? But instead, they would just reverse it and say, we're playing it smart.
Here's Sam Cook now, as his first punt will come from inside his own end zone. To return is Roberts, and he'll go out of bounds, it appears, right at the 45. That'll be put in the books as a 53-yard punt. And the Bills will take over the football with a 1st and 10. Josh Allen leads the offense out for their next possession. Bottom line, he's got to figure things out. He's completed 3 passes, but 2 of them have been to the wrong team so far.
And when we talk about the best quarterbacks, we're usually talking about touchdown-interception ratio, aren't we? And 2 to 1 is acceptable, but the top line guys, 3 to 1 or better is what they're looking for. Now we're talking about interceptions versus completions. That's not a ratio should ever be in any discussion.
Meanwhile, they take a shot to start the drive, but this is going to wind up incomplete. An incomplete pass on 1st down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. And for the 3rd time here in this half, it's intercepted. Picked off here by Jimmy Smith. And he will score. Touchdown, Baltimore. I don't know who all is to blame there, but I love seeing pick sixes.
Nothing like seeing someone pluck it out of the air and go the other way and see people try to change directions. Hard to do.
Tucker able to connect on the extra point, and that'll make the score 14-0. So the defense creating some points, not only getting the interception, but then returning it to the end zone for the pick six. So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick six. And now the kick is away. This is taken about 7 yards deep. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Buffalo offense ready to go for their next drive. And they're in a bind early here, down 14-0. Are you worried at this stage or still too early?
You're worried. You're just trying not to transmit it to the rest of your team. You want to make sure that they stay positive. But at the same time, you're wondering, how are we going to move the football? What do we have on this play sheet that can work? Get back to basics is usually your answer. And make sure you find the guy who can move the ball fastest for you if you just get it in his hands.
Yeah, still second quarter. You get points on the board here. I think you're feeling okay. So quickly all the way up at the 40-yard line. Allen fakes the give and keeps himself. And a flag comes in as that one falls incomplete. Well, let's see who this is on. Well, that's one of the drawbacks of running the RPO. If those linemen go into run block mode, you can't throw it if they're more than a yard downfield. Working out of the shotgun. Here's Allen. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Marching in for the sack, Matthew Judon.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit them with a screen soon.
Now then, after the sack, it'll be interesting to see what they have planned for 2nd and 23. Flushed out. Oh, the pressure too great, and he goes down once more. Matt Judon, his 2nd sack of the night.
Okay, let's go back a little bit and see if my schooling comes to the front. What's that old saying? Those who forget the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. That's the same guy who's gotten back-to-back sacks. I think a double team may be in order.
So after the sack, Allen and the Bills with work to do on 3rd and long. Now Allen off the bootleg. Rolling to, and the pressure gets to him again. Chris Wormley. The offensive line is in tatters as that's now 3 sacks in 3 plays.
I'm starting to feel for that quarterback back there. I mean, you know me. Normally, don't have a lot of empathy for the QB, right? In this case, definitely. He's been under constant duress this entire game. I don't know how he's surviving back there.
And to think, there's still a long way to go in this football game. 1:55 left to go in the first half of play. Coming up at halftime in a little less than 2 minutes, we'll send you to Orlando where Jonathan Coachman is standing by. He'll have highlights and analysis of this first half. Here's a run on first down that won't even get back to the line of scrimmage. He will lose a yard, 2nd and 11.
And the big fella stuffed that one up in a big way. I think doubling him has to be a priority because you can't move up to the next level if you don't take care of him first.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. Here's Jackson. He'll let this go for the end zone. And that's going to be incomplete. Good effort there trying to take a shot, but it's 3rd down.
One thing I know from experience is that when the deep ball is thrown and you're the defender, you've got to fight that little bit of panic that emerges. You've got to play the ball really well. It's a 50-50 jump ball play. And guess what? They took a shot. How are you going to win it? And in this case, they managed to get it done.
Meanwhile, on 3rd down, they take a shot at the end zone, but it's incomplete.
A lot of contact there, but there was no way it appeared that he was going to get a flag on that one. Looking for it, but he wasn't going to get it. And as an ex-defensive back, you love it when they let you play and jostle downfield.
And Tucker's kick right there. It's good, and the lead will grow. It's now 17-0. The bottom line, tremendous starting field position, really squandered there as they wind up going backwards and then come up with just 3.
Well, getting the 3 turned out to be important. I can imagine the head coach when he ordered the field goal. Please salvage something out of this drive. That was not fun to watch.
And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. John Brown now heading back onto the field as he gets set to go here. Looking down at the stats here, realizing he has no catches. They've targeted him twice, but no catches. So how do they get him more involved, Charles?
You make sure he touches it on routes that he likes to run. Maybe even run a reverse or some type of a jet sweep so he gets his hands on the ball and get him active and involved in the game. You just try and find ways to get him going, and it doesn't have to be something that's big downfield.
Maybe kind of like in basketball, just a shooter seeing the ball go through, you get him a rep, get him more comfortable.
I agree with that totally. Maybe set that solid screen and give him an easy look.
Well, to this point, no catches. On 2nd and 11 now. Allen. Oh, he's got a little daylight.
You're trailing, you're trying to get points late in the half. I absolutely understand that. But remember, it's all about the ball. And without the ball, you can't get those points. They just turned it over.
Now you got to be careful because that deficit can get a little bigger on the other side with that good field position they just took over with. After the interception, here's Jackson. Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Tre'Davious White with a pick, and he's going to return it to the 21-yard line.
Well, that's a drive killer right there. Not a really confident throw either. This one was kind of up for grabs, and it's going to come down the hands of the wrong team.
The Bills come to the line to start their next drive. And you're under a minute to go in the half, a first half that hasn't been particularly kind to you. How do you think they'll play this?
Well,
and my goodness,